Welcome, everyone. This is Sandy Andrew, your host of the Universal Learning Series radio show, where we discover the spiritual and scientific universe. Please visit our website at universallearningseries.com. We are broadcasting live on this day, Saturday, April the 3rd, 2010, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Our topic of discussion this week is 10 things to do when life falls apart, with author Daphne Rose Kingma. Add layoffs, foreclosures, shrunken or depleted 401ks, and skyrocketing healthcare costs to everyday life, and you have today's reality, one in which even those people who thought they had solid coping skills feel their center and their life cannot hold together as things start to fall apart. In her first book in many years, The 10 Things to Do When Life Falls Apart, Daphne Rose Kingma speaks with her trademark depth and compassion. Like the perfect combination of friend, counselor, savvy problem solver, and even humorist, she looks straight into the predicaments so many of us face and offer 10 deceptively simple yet profoundly effective strategies for addressing despair on practical, emotional, and spiritual levels. Daphne Rose Kingma's books have been featured on Oprah 6 times and sold over 1 million copies. Daphne Rose Kingma has been featured in the LA Times, the LA Herald Examiner, LA Weekly, Dallas Morning News, and the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, as well as Mademoiselle, New Woman, Self, and of course, the Oprah television show. Please visit Daphne Rose Kingma's website at daphnekingma.com. And we would like to welcome back to the Universal Learning Series radio show, author Daphne Rose Kingma.
It's a pleasure to be with you again, Sandy.
Good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be with you again.
Okay. Thank you. So you're calling in from the golden state of California this morning, I believe, Daphne.
That's correct.
I'm assuming it's sunny and blue skies.
It's sunny and blue skies, just like all the ads and promises, and it's a good place to be when life is full of challenges.
Well, California never seems to be far away from challenges. Now, the reason why I bring up the weather straight away this morning is finally here in the Midwest we have blue skies and nice temperatures to start off the weekend. We've had a rather strange winter, to say the least.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Daphne, you're involved a lot with people on a personal level. Have you seen a dramatic change in what problems and issues people have come to you over the last 1 to 2 years in regards to the disastrous economic situation the country faces?
I have, Sandy. I have worked for many years, especially with people in relationships, about relationship issues. And what I see is relationships strained by all the circumstances that we're all going through. It's just like people are, if not themselves, challenged in a lot of very difficult ways, but they're in an environment where everybody's feeling challenged and scared. It's like, are we going to make it through? How are we going to get through this kind of the global crisis, the national crisis, the personal crisis? There's just an air of anxiousness about people because we know that so many of us are going through hard things. And, I see that, as I said, in relationships, but seeing just how deeply affected people are by the the general state of affairs is what caused me to write this book, because I think I got it that people were saying, oh my goodness, we're scared, we don't know how we're going to cope with this. Not with the particular circumstances, because they're kind of things you have to do, one step after another. But how are we going to get through this feeling-wise? How are we going to get through it with our emotions? How are we going to get through it with our trust in life intact? And so that's what inspired me to write this book, to kind of give people a handhold as they went up the mountain of challenge.
Indeed, you can't change the black and white ink on a bank statement, but you can sure change how you look at things on an emotional, spiritual level.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's what prompted you to write this book, Daphne, because this is kind of somewhat. I guess you're writing this from a perspective of what's transpired over the last 2 years. So were you kind of moving into uncharted ground, trying to counter things that were financial things that were causing people tremendous stress within their relationships?
Yes. I mean, I felt that there was such a call to give comfort to people. That's always been my path. My first book, which of course was Coming Apart, about the end of relationships, came in response to, people going through the end of a relationship and saying, oh my goodness, how am I going to live through this? How am I going to go through all these feelings? I've never felt anything like this before. And the climate now is very similar, except that people are feeling it about their lives as a whole. And so that was the inspiration. It's like to give people an emotional footing, because people are very scared. We all get scared when we have scary, frightening feelings that are bigger or more overwhelming than we're familiar with. And it's like people need a sense that they will be able to go through that. And that's what this book is offering. It's like, yes, you will, and here are some ways to go through it, and here's the meaning of all this, and here's another way of looking at this, so that instead of just being nonstop freaked out, you can actually go through an emotional process. And I've seen many people actually come out much better on the other side of their crisis. There's a lot of transformation that happens because of going through difficult things, which is that's the high point. That's the beauty of it.
I think it's an excellent book that you've come with, and an excellent counter, because you know this better than anyone, that sometimes it's hard for folks within relationships under normal, shall we say, prosperous times. Now you throw in the chaos of the economic situation and also the other environmental problems that we face and global security problems. It's no wonder some people are just, their lives are literally falling apart.
Yes, absolutely. And in our culture, in our Western culture, we've had a lot of stability and comfort, and so this is very new experience for us. Just like years ago, the wave of divorces was a new experience. We were very stable sociologically in terms of our marital family patterns, and then suddenly people started breaking loose right and left, and we're seeing this now in a different way, on a different level, and it's just, to put it colloquially, it just freaks people out. It's like, oh my goodness, is the whole world falling apart? Are we turning a somersault? Are we going to land on our feet? Or is this just going to, take us off to some no man's land? So, yes, it's like we haven't been accustomed in our lives to be dealing with such a multitude of challenges, because it's not just the external challenges that we all know about, the financial thing, the healthcare thing here in the United States, but it's also that along with this, people have their own personal challenges. They have illness, they have challenges with their children, they have challenges inside their relationships. So there's it's like there's a meta level of challenge that's, that we're all living in. And I think the challenge of that is that it asks people, how are you going to deal with this emotionally? Do you have the emotional resources to deal with this?